Hey everybody, I'm Monty Mont.
I'm Tiff.
I'm Hamilton Hardin.
And these
are a few
of our favorite things.
Yo, you ready for mine, Tiff? Let's go!
Never kept up with the latest. Never tried to be the greatest. But let's be honest, yes, we want this.
Oh, wow. Tiff, he beat you on that one. I'm sorry. Usually.
I will not be outdone.
And
he did not come to play today.
Yeah, he ready.
This is not a game.
People,
I love it.
Thank you for joining us again. This is another episode of our favorite Sings podcast on the Mighty Sharp Network. I'm here again with Tiff. Tiff, how you doing, first of all?
Okay. How are you? Happy Sunday.
Yes. We're taping this on a Sunday, y'all. We're doing good. God is good, always. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, and I'm just trying to flatter, but we've had some amazing, talented people on this show. We've been blessed to talk to some awesome people. I honestly don't know if we've had a person that is as talented as the guest we have today, because somebody posted something that he did, on a live or anything. I just clicked on it and I said, okay, let me check it out. I like this song. He's got an EP we'll get out to. But when I clicked on his page, I saw him singing and playing literally everything. And you hear about those people sometimes, like Prince could play anything and everything, or, and fam, we about to get into it today because I got a whole bunch to ask him. But this gentleman is Mr. Hamilton Hardin, who is joining us today. How are you doing, sir?
Awesome. Glad to be talking to y'all.
Hey, well, it's we appreciate the time. So let's get into it. Hey, bro, how many instruments you playing, dog? Because, man, like,
man, I play around 12 or 13.
Wow.
I told y'all.
Wow.
Hey, hold on a second. But see, everybody has something that they into. Don't ask me to fix your car because it won't be broke. You will be on the side of the road. Don't ask me to cook a meal because I ain't that sweet in the kitchen. Everybody has stuff they put their time in. I put my time into music, and so that's sort of what I do.
Wow. 12 or 13? I wasn't ready.
Listen,
Right.
He's for real. Like, you go on his page, I saw him doing some things on the keys at first. I was like, okay, yeah, nice. Then he had a guitar. I said, okay, the brother's a little well-versed. No big deal. Y'all, he had like a flute. See, you just don't play flute, man. You don't just be on no flute, in the park, what I'm saying, at 5 p.m., and my man's, I said, no, I got.
That's a different type of anointing. A flute, like a flute? Yeah.
That was, so, I mean, seriously then, are you just a pick up and kind of play type of guy? Like, you kind of just can pick it up and play?
I think when it comes to when people say someone's gifted with something, I think the gift is a desire and a perseverance to keep practicing. So to answer your question, it was nothing is like an overnight, I picked it up and then the next morning I was great. I think everything comes with practice, but I think part of what God has gifted me with is just a desire to like keep working at something, keep practicing at something, and the sort of hyper focus on it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Who were some of your musical influences growing up?
Woo! Okay, that's a big question because there's a lot of influences. I would say growing up, Take Six, the Arrangements, Quincy Jones, of course, I know we want to talk about him a little later. I think Wynton Marsalis.
Oh, yeah.
His brother Branford Marsalis. the whole Marsalis family.
Yeah.
Herbie Hancock.
Oh yeah.
Big
Yeah.
inspiration. Marvin Winans. I mean, it sort of goes across genres too, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably some of my bigger influences. But I mean, if you go through my iTunes right now, you would think I have sort of a musical ADD problem because I listen to stuff from various genres, various time periods.
Yes.
I mean, I put myself on iTunes Shuffle, and it will go from Beethoven to James Brown.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I love music, man. I love music.
Man, that's I mean, now again, y'all, I ain't playing no 12 instruments, but if you look at my iTunes, I love the arts. I can listen to somebody, you know, playing an oboe and it's real nice on some symphony thing. And then like you say, you know, I got some old Wilson Pickett going and then listen to some Kurt Franklin. It's just, you know what I mean? So we meet up on that for sure. And I'm telling you what, you dropping in that Marvin Winans, you didn't game out 25 fans.
Hey, come on now. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
I mean, you talk about my top 10 singers. Marvin is definitely within, I would say, the top 5 for me.
Absolutely.
Marvin, because it's not just about, you know, having vocal dexterity and facility. It's also about being able to convey words in a way that when the lyric comes across,
yeah,
you feel it. You know what I'm saying? And Marvin is just that dude. Y'all know. Y'all know.
For sure.
Hamilton, we had a controversial top 10 list of our favorite male singers.
Uh-oh.
But, you know, me and Tiff, sometimes we don't always meet eye to eye, but we did agree. Tiff, did you have Marvin? I had Marvin.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
don't
like
you get up here and try to embarrass. I did.
We did. We ain't gonna get into the rest of it. We had them pretty high. We did. So
sure.
Right. So I want to ask you next because, you know, man, I was just all in your business on your social media, and I saw you know, you were doing music, playing music, producing music, but then arranging some things too. And I would love for you to break down for people that, you know, hear those terms, but maybe don't know. I think a lot of people, like, especially from like hip hop, understand kind of what a producer does. But when you hear an arranger, I don't know if people really understand what that really means. Can you break down the differences in those two things?
Sure. Arranging goes from everything to deciding what textures are shown in the song via instruments. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if I were to do a song where I had drums, bass, piano, and a brass section behind me, then that would create a texture that would be different to if I had drums, bass, piano, and a string section behind me, right? And so those textures bring out different emotions along with the harmonies. And then the other part of arranging is the harmony of it, you know, how harmony is voiced, or how it's, I guess, voice may be too ambiguous of a word, but how the harmony is mapped out in a string section or amongst a rhythm section or something like that, or a woodwind section. You know, you're painting a picture musically, and I think the arranger, and this is where it sort of crosses the producer arranger title, but the arranger is sort of picking, if we were to use the analogy of a painting, the arranger is choosing what colors paint the picture.
Okay.
Can I get a witness out there?
That's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and paint this thing for me. I see it now.
Yes.
Yeah, I see it now.
Yeah, that's a good breakdown. I like that.
I like that. When you're working with an artist, how do you get in tune with what they want for a song?
So I always ask for a reference first, and preferably maybe 3 to 5 references of what they're into, because people use words all the time like, I want something jazzy. But jazzy to you and jazzy to me may mean two totally different things. I may be thinking John Coltrane. Yeah. You may be thinking Jill Scott is jazzy.
Yeah.
And so I always ask for references so I can get into the mind of the artist. And then we just have a lot of conversation. I want to know who they're into. Why are you into them? And then you also start to find, and even from a standpoint of a mix engineer, now I know what type of mix. You like the drums hot, or you like this type of bright sound or this wide sound. And so I think conversation, references, and honestly, sometimes it's when you're in the room with the artist, you're getting a feel. You play something, they start to go, yeah, that's cool. Then you know they're not feeling that.
Yeah.
And you know, my job as a producer is to bring the best version of the artist out.
Oh yeah.
And so in order to do that, I have that conversation. I find out what they're into and sort of get into their world. And at the end of the day, hope everybody's happy.
That's right. And I can imagine, like, when you are playing something for them, you know, just by their demeanor and their body language, if they like it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah.
I mean, you know, also, because, you know, and I'm like this too, so I can't fault. I can be really nice. So if I'm not feeling something, I'll still try to say, oh, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. But, you know, they're not feeling it. Yeah. When they're feeling it, generally they're up jumping around the room. Yeah. Oh my God, this is it. And so that's the type of responses I'm looking for. Because, you know, it takes a while for it to develop the artist. Now, the best relationships are when the artist is completely blunt with you. That way we're not wasting any time trying to figure out, you know, try to get past that getting comfortable stage.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, some of the artists I worked with recently, when we first start, I'll play something. I don't like that. I'm like, great. We're not wasting any time. We're getting right to it. And then when I play, I strike a nerve on what they do like. Then they're like, oh yeah. And then, you know. Right. But it takes a while. And like I said, I'm just as guilty because, you know, I like people to feel comfortable, and I don't want to hurt feelings. And sometimes it's hard, to be honest, but honesty is what gets you the best picture of what the artist is into. Yeah,
definitely. And that's funny you say that. I remember, I think I have this right. I remember seeing, it was Timbaland, and he was playing like a beat for like Jay-Z, and he was playing a couple things, and they're like, yeah. And then I want to say it was Dust Off Your Shoulder. It was one of the classic ones. And I remember Jay-Z's face, he was like, wait, what is that? He said, give me that one, you know. But, yeah, that's what you're looking for. So now I want to ask you this, man, and kind of alluding to your EP, which has a lot of great sounds and things like that. But for you, would you feel like jazz, coming from a musician's perspective, is maybe the most difficult to master and play from all the different genres? I mean, you know, there's, you know, hip hop, there's funk, there's classical, all these things. Because I've always been kind of intimidated by jazz music, just in terms of you hear so many things and your ear has to be so good. Would you say that, or do you feel like it's just another one of the genres to master that's kind of all universal?
I think, first of all, jazz is such has such a broad spectrum to it. Yeah. But I do think jazz is probably the second hardest. Because there's on every instrument, the best way to develop technique is to do with classical music. Yeah. Classical music has some of the hardest technique. The challenging thing that a lot of people find about jazz is improvisation. And I think once you get comfortable learning how to improvise, once you get comfortable learning the language of bebop or the language of, I don't know, the different musical dialects that take place within music, then improvisation is actually the freest part.
I mean,
You know, I got stressed out when I was, you know, early high school when I first started improvising. But, you know, now I'm actually more comfortable improvising than anything else. I honestly, what gives me the butterflies now is having to play prepared music a certain way.
Oh yeah.
That's what gives me I don't know, that's what sort of gives me anxiety. But when I have freedom, I know I can improvise my way out of something.
No problem.
That's where we're the freest. But yeah, I mean, you go back to some of the Bach etudes, piano etudes, or Tchaikovsky, or what's my man's name? Rachmaninoff on piano.
Okay.
That's some of the most challenging piano music. And some of the books you see behind me are a lot of the etudes and stuff that I read on flute or on saxophone to sort of get my technique tighter, because the music is so difficult. So I would say classical music, to me, I know it's subjective, but to me, classical music is probably the hardest. You'll find the hardest degree of difficulty.
Wow.
Okay. I can't even begin to imagine how vigorous this type of process would be, but how did you decide what songs to use on your EP? and how has the reception been to it?
So I would say initially starting the process, that I was strongly inspired by reading scripture. Scripture really brings, I think, the strongest inspiration for me. And I was reading something on the concept of prayer, and that's where the first song, Pray, came. And I decided I wanted to do what's called a concept record or a concept EP, where generally all the songs point to one concept. And so for me, this record, I wanted all the music to focus on prayer, because I wanted the music and the lyrics and the artistic experience to inspire people to pray. Because I started realizing, you know, even in church, when musicians, singers, even preachers have such a weak prayer life. And in thinking about that, I wanted to create music that, and I would say this music, I think it can be for anybody, but I sort of intentionalized it for believers. To hey, let's build up this prayer thing. And because, you know, I don't know if you've heard the saying, little prayer, little power.
No prayer.
Much prayer. Yeah, no prayer, no power.
No power, nothing.
Yeah. And you know, much prayer, much power.
Yes.
And you know, now more than, well, I'm gonna say more than ever, but definitely now the church needs to be powerful in this world. And so I just want to encourage people to pray. And so I came up with the first song, Pray, it came into my mind. And the difficulty, I think, is translating music out of my head onto speakers. Sometimes it's very successful. Sometimes I miss it. But I think that first song, Pray, came out almost exactly like I heard it. The Lord's Prayer, I'll be honest, I was a little disappointed because I wasn't able to get it exactly how I heard it in my head. But it came out. And then everything else started coming together once I actually started the EP.
And the EP is actually called Pray.
It's called Pray.
That's the name.
I'm trying to make it real simple. Pray, y'all.
They need to understand it may not be popular to some, but it's most certainly powerful.
Yeah.
It needs, okay? Yes.
Guys, it is really good. And I was checking it out. When I think the person actually linked your EP or something. And so I said, wow, this is great. And it really, I love the theme. I love the textures, the sound, and all of that. So we're going to finish up just with our questions. I wanted to ask you this, with now, as a person that literally plays 12 instruments, you see now, in 2020, the technology side, and now we have, everything can be on computers, and, guys don't even know how to play, you know what I mean? They can pull samples, and the DAWs can do so much work for you. I want to ask you, how do you feel about that in terms of with younger people and younger musicians coming up? And are they really, I don't want to sound like the old guy, but it's like, are you guys still getting the same thing we got from taking time to learn your instruments instead of doing it the easy way? You know what I'm saying?
I think that's a good question. I think it's part of the evolution of music. Because I think if you were to ask, Mozart, his thoughts about hearing an electric guitar, if he, jump hundreds of years, it would be foreign to him. But I think music, as painting or any other, or poetry or anything like that, is an artistic expression. And I think it enables people to express themselves maybe in a different way. I don't think playing real instruments will ever go out of style. I think that will always be. What does concern me about the next generation is the function of music. Mm-hmm. And when I say that, I say that music being art for the sake of being art. For example, I have two boys. They're 10 and 12. And when I play music in the car with them, their first reaction is, this sounds like some soundtrack to some movie. Like, they see the function of music being behind something or strictly for entertainment. And I think what's dying, even in our generation now, is the ability to sit in a dark room and just listen to music and take it in, and and just evaluate how it's making you feel, how it's affecting you. Yeah. Because I think that for true artists, not entertainment artists, I'm talking about artists, that's their whole point, is to convey this original emotion and let it come out, and so the listener will perceive it, and you'll hopefully feel what I felt. Yeah. But I think that's such a dying, particularly in America, but I think it's a dying purpose for music, just for art's sake.
That's so funny you said that too. How you said in America as well. I just watched a clip literally about an hour ago. I think it was Tina Turner. It was a couple of people. Tina Turner, I think it was Michael Jackson. It was Bobby Brown. And they were all talking about how in their times, and their music was more appreciated overseas. Yeah. And they were in different interviews with different people and stuff like that. And I thought that was really interesting. It's funny how you just kind of put that mark with America.
Man, I remember I did a tour with a violinist in 2012, and we went to Spain, and we did 7 cities in 8 days. Wow. In Spain. And it was sort of what would be considered sort of the high art, or like straight ahead avant-garde jazz. And when we went there, I mean, we were literally packing out amphitheaters with, anywhere from 2,000 to 7,000 people. Wow. And then that same group, we ended our tour in the States, and we were playing for rooms of like 10 people. Wow. It's crazy. But I think, like, even when I go, like, I've been, and I don't say braggadocio, I've been blessed to be able to travel the world. And like going to Europe or to Africa, even when you listen to popular radio, the scope of what's popular is so broad. Yeah. There's an appreciation for James Brown in the same way there's an appreciation for Stevie Wonder, in the same way there's appreciation for Christina Aguilera, and the same way there's appreciation for, I mean, there's such a wide spectrum. But when you listen to American radio in comparison, like everything sounds like, if you listen to hip hop radio right now, everything sounds exactly like the same. As a producer, I'm able to, without any creativity, create or put together something that will compete on those stations, just because the sound is so, everyone uses the same kick drum, everyone uses the same snare, everyone uses the same type of auto-tune effects, and you sort of know how to do that thing. But I think everywhere else in the world besides America has, and I'm not like dogging America, I love America.
No,
I'm an American, my children are American. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that what seems to be leaving America to me is appreciation for a wide, broad spectrum of music.
Yeah.
But you know, it's up to us artists to keep making it regardless.
So
Back at it.
anytime Stevie Wonder's name is mentioned, okay, there's this thing that happens. Okay, in Monty, I see it.
Yeah.
And he wanted to just tell on me right then and there.
I wasn't gonna.
So I just told on myself. I said, you know, someone here may have placed Stevie at number 7, and that someone may have been me. Okay, but that's my list.
Listen. It's all subjective. I think day to day, the list might change who we all like.
Yes.
I just know that Stevie would never go past. That's all right though.
Yeah.
You see now? See, so the Lord knows.
Okay, calm down.
Don't fight the battles. I ain't have to even. I wasn't even gonna bring it up. But see, that's why this my man right here. So what we're gonna do now, guys, and you know what? I want to actually do this. Usually we get into this contentious list and we gotta have it all that, but we're gonna be more friendly this time. You know.
Thank you, Lord.
Tiff don't like to rank and all that stuff, but we wanted to talk very quick, just because Hamilton really he's got such a wide array of things, and it made me think about Quincy Jones. And I watched an amazing documentary on him on Netflix. It's still out.
I saw that. That was everything.
Oh my God. And I learned so much. I didn't know he had did so many things. So I was saying that, man, let's get our top 5 Quincy produced projects. But, you know, we could just celebrate Q, man, because
you don't even know how good that just made me feel right now.
We ain't always gonna do it like this.
Shifting just happened. Hey, know, because I've been trying to remove these numbers. Amen. Okay, come on.
So let's just get it. We're gonna talk about some of our favorite Quincy projects, and we'll do it like that. So, as a matter of fact, I'll start. There's for young folk, y'all know nothing about this, but Quincy Jones actually did the production for basically the whole film score called The Wiz. Now, y'all might, again, it hurts me to say this, young people, that y'all might not even have heard of The Wiz, but The Wiz was everything. You know, there was The Wizard of Oz, you know, back in the day, which is great. You know, love The Wizard of Oz. Me and my sister, we watched all the time. But then, you know, we had to put our own spin on it. You know, Black folks did. And so the songs in The Wiz, for me, I mean, you got Diana Ross, you know what I'm saying? You got Nipsey, not Nipsey Hussle, y'all, but Nipsey Russell.
Right.
Original Nipsey Hussle. And you got Michael Jackson and Ted Ross. And you got Lena Horne. And it's a great movie, but the singing, Ease on Down the Road, You Can't Win. Do y'all remember The Wiz where when they come to the Emerald City and like they change in colors and they walk? Yes. Man, Quincy just was showing up.
That's brilliant. I'm a little mad you said it because I wanted to bring that up. That was my number one.
Please speak on it though.
That was my number one. The Wiz. Woo! Yeah. Man.
Okay, so when you first saw The Wiz, I remember there's a cameo of Quincy on the piano, if you really remember well. Did you even know who Quincy Jones was at that point when you saw it?
I did not know who he was. I think I appreciated Quincy later, like past high school, when I went back and say, oh, that's the dude that did that.
Yeah,
That's the dude that did that. You know, even like the Sanford and Sons thing. That
was one of my next
Quincy.
ones.
Man.
That theme, real quick, Tiff. Did we have that on our top?
We definitely did. There's no way you can. We did a list for TV theme songs, and that was definitely on the list. Absolutely, both.
That's such a sophisticated. I mean, it's so much going on in it. You know, with the. I'm sure Hamilton, you could play everything on there. You know what I'm saying? You could do all the instruments and all that stuff.
Yeah. Right.
But okay, so Tiff, do you got one we haven't mentioned yet?
Yeah, okay, so here's the thing, and like you were mentioning, a lot of people unfortunately may not know who Quincy Jones is, but I guess you really don't realize how much he's had his hands into things until you really start like, oh, wait a minute, looking him up and realizing, wait, he did this, he did that. So I'm going to name a couple of things, and it's going to sound like the Michael Jackson show, but we are definitely still talking about Quincy. So I'm just going to say Human Nature was one of my favorite songs. So Human Nature for sure is one that I'm going to put out there.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Quincy, of course, worked very close.
Embarrassing. Stop it.
That's Tiff's dog. He loves Quincy as well, so you know.
He heard the conversation.
I mean, Quincy and Mike work very close, and we probably gonna get into some other things. Hamilton, you got another one that was on your list.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his earlier stuff. So I will go back all the way to the Count Basie stuff.
Oh wow! Okay.
Count Basie Orchestra, the stuff he did with Ella Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Who is my #1 favorite female vocalist.
Oh wow!
Oh yes.
Nice.
But anyway, the stuff that he did with her, all the Count Basie, all the what's my man's name? Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Honestly, a lot of his brilliance that happened with the Human Nature and the Michael Jackson stuff sort of made people outshadowed his earlier stuff.
Yeah.
But Quincy has like a long discography of just moving music that you didn't even know he was part of.
No.
But yeah,
well,
I'd say the Count Basie stuff.
Now there's a song, when I learned this from the documentary, it's by, Leslie Gore, and it's called It's My Party. You know, It's my party and I cry for, you know, now that's super old, y'all. That's before me. But you would hear it on like, you know, commercials and things. They said that was one of Quincy's first early breakthroughs. And if you listen to that song, that is nothing like anything you've heard from like Michael Jackson or the Wiz or anything. It's not, you know, Ella Fitzgerald is probably not going to sing that song, but it just shows his range that it was literally like a pop hit from like the 50s or 60s, you know, a little pop hit. Like you say, probably now it'd be something for, you know, Christina Aguilera or whatever that somebody would do now as a producer. But I was just floored by that. I said, yo, Quincy did that?
Yeah.
I said, my man, he is unbelievably talented. But
it's like,
sentiment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to your point, it goes from genre to genre, and each genre is very authentic. And in order to do that, you have to be like a student of the music. Yeah. And Quincy is. I was about to say he was, like he's not here, but he is. He's just a student of the music. And even the stuff that he's getting behind now, there's a young musician that's also multi-instrumentalist named Jake McCollier.
Okay.
And Quincy is sort of producing him and took him under his wing. But that just speaks to how Quincy is always looking to be have a forward motion artistically. Yeah. You know, always not getting stuck to where we are, basking in the good old days, because he has plenty of work to do that. But he's very forward moving in his quest to make art.
It really is art when you talk about Quincy. I had another one. He did a song called Tomorrow, and it was with Tevin Campbell, and they're just kids, and it was a very positive message, and it was for some reason, when I was younger, when I was maybe 12 or 13, that song really, even as a kid, and I'm not saying I'm no great musician thing, but I could hear the musicianship. I remember like, I was like, yo, them chords is like really, you know, and I didn't get, like you, I didn't even know who Quincy Jones was at the point, but I remember, you know, Tevin Campbell was kind of big when I was young, and that was his first big break. But then going back and finding out that was, I said, man, that was,
Yep.
the, you know, moving thing. But all right, Tiff, you probably got another MJ hit.
Well, probably. But okay, you know what? It's so strange. Same thing. Like when you told me that we were going to do this for the show, so I started to look up some of, you know, the things that he had done, and I saw that It's My Party, and I said, really? Wow. I was like, really? That was Quincy? I had no idea. So that was on my list. I'm like, did I share that with you? But that's fine. You did that. Okay. So one of the ones that I will say, listen, this would, if you made me do numbers, this would probably be my number one. We Are the World.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I would have, like, We Are the World. There were so many, like, look at the greats that were in there. How did Dan Aykroyd get there? Like, it was so, I mean, all of these people were there. And I remember, like, reading something a long time ago about some of the facts. They said that Prince was supposed to be there. Madonna wanted to be there.
Yeah.
There was so many things that happened. And I think, I want to say Dan Aykroyd was there by happenstance. Like somehow, or like he just.
Well, no, okay. In Dan's defense, now Hamilton, you might not know this, but for me, one of my all-time favorite movies is The Blues Brothers. And musically, just there's so many different genres of music just in that movie. So I think We Are the World was probably around that time because people was really giving, you know, Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi props like they was real musicians. I mean, and they were actually singing. So he probably has kind of made some calls, you know, got in on it. But yeah, for those that don't know, We Are the World was like, it was for a relief effort. And only Quincy could probably get that many guys and women.
Yeah, and so part of being producer, I always say part of being producer is there's a little bit of a Dr. Phil aspect because artists have personalities and egos and all that stuff. And I saw, I don't know if it got leaked out or something, but there was some behind the scene footage with that. When you bring that many stars in the one room.
Giants.
Oh, man, there were so many egos and stuff. But Quincy had a way of making sure everybody, you got your shine, you're the star.
Yeah.
You're the star. You know what I'm saying? And he pulled that off.
Yeah.
Because that could have gone south quick.
Read there was actually something like some plaque like above the door that actually said where they did that. Check your egos at the door.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's so, and it's funny you say that. So we're gonna wind it up, man. Hamilton, you've been so great with your time. But one of my last ones, and this was kind of featured on the documentary, some behind the scenes stuff, you know, like Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. You know, that's MJ, right? The amazing thing is in the documentary, you know, Quincy says that Michael comes up to him, you know, and he's like, you know, Quincy, I really like the song, but he was just like, you know, the strings, I'm not really feeling the strings, you know. Now, if you know this song, you know, the strings is everything.
Everything.
Like, so Quincy says in the documentary, he looks at Michael like, bro, if you don't get in that booth and stay this, we ain't dropping the strings. Like,
he said, I'm the producer.
Hamilton, have you ever had that kind of situation where, like, you know it's hot and maybe the artist is like, I don't know, and you just like, yo, what are you talking about?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, I would say, you know, it is always after it's over, yeah, I'm glad we did that. We should have did that. But, you know, because especially sometimes, like, for example, with that Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, that was a little bit of a risky move because strings weren't always heard in that way in pop music.
Oh, okay.
And Quincy, you know, he made that risky move. And it's those risky moves that sort of separate what someone says the crabs in the barrel.
Yeah.
You have everyone trying to sort of do the same thing. It takes someone to sort of go a little bit left
Yeah.
to make the music stand out. And then Quincy did such a great job doing that.
Wow. Okay, guys, any more on your list that we didn't get to if you want to hit real quick before we go?
The Ray Charles stuff.
Yes. Oh, I'm glad you said it. Go ahead.
Yes.
I mean, there's a long list. Hold on a second. I got a list here. Tony Bennett.
Yes.
George Benson.
Oh, the George. Hold on. Yeah, I had George Benson right on here, and he's got one with Little Richard. He did a whole gospel album. Little Richard was crazy.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah, this guy here.
Louis Armstrong. I mean,
it's if you don't know, take a minute and look up. Like Tiff said, you're gonna be surprised some of the things you see.
Wow.
Quincy was associated with.
You gentlemen have to tell me what was the name of that series on Netflix.
Yeah, it's called, I think it's called Q. It might just be.
Yeah, it's a documentary. It's either called Q or Quincy. Okay. I remember seeing it when it first came out.
Okay.
And I think I'm about due to see. I might watch it again tonight.
Yeah. I'm on it.
Quincy. It's Quincy. That's all it is.
I'm on it tonight. Yeah.
So very quick then, Hamilton, please give your plugs. Let everybody know where they can find you and find your work. We definitely want people to support. Please. Sure.
So social media, I try to make it real easy to find me. You go look on Instagram. Just type in Hamilton Hardin.
Yeah.
It will come up. Hardin. And then I have a record that I did back in 2014 called Just Wanna Say. And then recently this year I came out with an EP called Pray.
Yeah.
And so please go out, support your boy. It's on all the major digital distribution platforms. And I think just look out in the future, because my main goal, especially as youth is fleeting, I'm just wanting to be more intentional with releasing music more frequently. So my goal is to release a project at least once a year.
Please do.
Because it's time to bear fruit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, please do. Please do. This is Mr. 12 Instruments himself. Wait, what? Did we list did you say everything you do play?
Give us give us some of those instruments.
Oh, don't be modest. Let's hear it.
All right, check it out. I think of instruments as families. All right. Yeah. So when I was in 6th grade, I started playing saxophone like an band instrument.
Mm-hmm.
Saxophone and flute are very closely related.
First cousin.
They're also related as like the clarinet. It's very closely related. Same with other woodwind instruments like bassoon and oboe, right? So those are sort of in one family. And then, like take, for example, the trumpet. Trumpet is a valve instrument. It has 3 valves on it, right?
Right.
So because I play trumpet, I can play euphonium or tuba, or any of the other valve instruments, right? Or trombone is same concept. And then bass and guitar can sort of be a family. They're sort of related. Keyboard is sort of its own thing, and then drums is sort of its own thing as well. But yeah, I try to think of it as families, and some instruments just translate easy to the next.
Okay, so they ain't translate for me. See, they said I'm with you. I played trumpet in school, but the tuba, I was like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing on this. Nah, I got to
Yeah.
See, that's the difference. See, you're being very diplomatic about it. You know what I mean? Don't try that at home, y'all. Don't think you can do a little guitar. Don't try that at home. I'm telling you, this is a professional right here. But
I can hear me right now. You can play that. They first cousins.
They first cousins.
You should be able to play that.
Right.
But man, sir, thank you for the time. This was awesome. I really enjoyed this. Tiff, you got anything else?
No, thank you so much for coming on. Amazing show.
Yes.
My pleasure. Glad to meet y'all and glad to be on the show.
Tiff, we're starting to become friends with some really talented people. Maybe when the COVID lift, man, we got to get everybody together or something, man, because we got some great talent we're meeting.
Absolutely, I agree.
You guys check us out. Of course, our favorite sings. We're on Instagram as well. You can check out the show page on mightysharpshow.com. We got more content coming out, more great people like this to talk to. Man, be blessed in everything you do, sir. Please check that EP out. I've heard it. It is excellent. I'm highly recommending it. It's so well done. But we look to see great more things for you, man. The next project come out, we got to have you come back on for sure, sir.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, have a great one.
All right, thank you.
This has been a production of the Mighty Sharp Network. Executive producer is Monty Mont. Watch the corners and always stay sharp.